It's a colorful foresight where we intuitively connect from within. And it's woo woo time where we connect our woo woo into our mundane living. Hello, hello, hello. It's woo woo time. I'm Sylvia of Colorful Foresight, and here we have PD of the Tower Lounge.
I'm here with bells on. I'm glad to be here. This is my kind of show.
Oh my God. So, intuition and anxiety. What is
Mm.
that? So, first, before we go further, quickly introduce your channel.
Yeah, so I'm PD from the Tarot Lounge. Right now, I am doing a lot of true crime and missing persons cases. I'm working a lot with Hershey, the Shadow Reader, really enjoying myself, doing a lot of mysteries, things like that, digging into things, the fun paranormal kind of things, and doing my sort of armchair detective kind of thing. So very, very interesting. It's definitely a passion of mine. I'm learning, really enjoying it, and just starting to make content and have fun again. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk about it.
Yeah, and my channel basically, the premise is every single person intuitive just by it's just the way we are made. We're energetic beings. But a lot of us here work at it. Maybe we're more inclined because it's our family line or
Mm,
from a past life or it's our path. But
mm,
other than that, everybody's intuitive. And by the way, lot of people, most people experience anxiety one point or another. So this is not unique, not special, but this particular video it catered to people who are very highly sensitive and how that works with anxiety. Could that's like because we're picking up energy. Besides going through life stuff, like I
yeah.
have regular life stuff, it brings up anxiety. But then we have intuition on top of that. And what I like to bring up, which I forgot to mention behind the scene, is when I have anxiety, do I even hear my intuition? That's the time when I really literally have to use a pendulum or oracle card until I'm calm enough to hear. So that actually affect our intuitive ability when with that, you know. So
Mm,
all of you, this apply to you, like not just about her PD and me. It
mhm.
applies to you because um, maybe some of you don't suffer as much, but you're likely picking up a lot more. So, what we're going to start with is a little bit of information.
Okay.
So, PD, explain a little bit what you've been going through.
Well, I didn't always have anxiety all my life. It wasn't something
Mm,
that I always suffered with. It's something that I developed over time. And I found that it really limited me. And once I got so deep into it, I had a hard time pulling myself out of it. It's almost like I felt like I was a strand of Christmas lights that were wound up and tangled up, and I was trying to individually go through those Christmas lights and untangle them when I started to work on it. So it's something that I've suffered with since I think my teenage years. I would not so much when I was a child because I was kind of oblivious to it. Now when I look back and I think on maybe did I have it when I was a kid, I think so. But like we're talking about too, having it being like with psychicness and being empaths and things like that, like we were saying, behind the scenes when we first started, before we started the show, we were saying, well, I don't think everybody, you don't have to be an empath to suffer from anxiety, right? But I do think that empaths and people that have abilities and that exercise them do go through it, because here's one thing that I notice happens, Sylvia. It's like sometimes we get a gut feeling on something, right? But since we live in such a tactile, real world, that it's a fact driven world, we can't put our finger on it and place it into the box,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So then we're like, am I crazy?
Exactly.
And then you sit and you think about it. So
Yeah.
it's like I go through a lot of that. Do you feel anything like that ever?
Always.
Yeah.
And by the way, you and I who have a YouTube channel, we look like we're so comfortable and everything. But the stress we have sometime before to come on, why?
Oh,
You know?
I know. And like, okay, I'll share with you guys, Sylvia and I, we've had shows scheduled together before, and I've had to literally email, and I've sat up and thought about it. I've had to email Sylvia and be like, I can't do it today. I'm so sorry. And then there's anxiety on top of the anxiety, right? That thank goodness I've met somebody like-minded and I can share those things with and talk about those things with, that understands me. It's like, it's okay. I understand you,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Heather, who is so alchemy with Indigo, Jaguar. I have a cold, everybody, so they'll, same here. I had no idea what anxiety was until her 30s, or it could be mental health concern until my early 40s. I think it's all related, mind, body, spirit, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, for real. I do too.
Jamie, a friend, said, I
I
ask PD 30 times a week if I'm crazy.
And I think I ask her 30 times a week if I'm crazy back, or somebody, whoever's in the nearest vicinity of my range at the time. Am I nuts?
And you know what? Besides picking up like the regular life situation, it could be physical and as well as spiritual. Um, a lot of it has to do with the more we're working with like the unseen, we get ungrounded. That's why some people go crazy. And that's why when people are very physical, they do yoga. I don't do yoga and all that, but walking or whatever.
Mhm.
She mentioned it behind the scene about grounding. But I'm thinking going back to the gym because simple as like being more in my body. It's not even about like being a gym rat, but because
There's
that's why people go cuckoo. And when you deal with the woo woo, it's not cuckoo because you're wrong. It's cuckoo because we are a human being and we have to ground ourselves.
right. Oh, I think you're so right, Sylvia. I do 100% believe in that mind, body, soul,
Right.
combo
Yeah.
connection there. And one thing, okay, so I'll give you an example. In special education, one thing that we did was we would, so if with ADHD, children with ADHD, if they were feeling real, antsy,
Yeah.
one thing that we could do is go into the occupational therapy room, and we could do some exercises, some wall push-ups. And you know what? It's amazing how that physical release, and we're jumping on a trampoline. Kids loved to jump on the little mini trampoline. Um, it's amazing how that physical release helps you mentally and helps you. Then after we would do that, a lot of the kids that I had would be able to go back into the classroom and complete their work after that. So, I do 100% think that that physical release is necessary for those of us that suffer from this. I agree. So,
Yeah, definitely breach to the anxiety does not discriminate. That's what I
no,
mean. It goes from all across the board, but particularly in the video, everybody gets it. We're all energetic beings, and
yeah,
everybody's intuitive. But
right.
we're talking about people who are a little more extra. They
Mm,
work at it, maybe their family line, their life path. So because of that, even more so. And that's why and you're working with the woo-woo, you really gotta work with your body. That's something I'm actually with Dance with Angela. You've seen her on my channel.
yeah.
She's starting an online thing next week. Um, it's not that expensive. It's like $13 per. But she's gonna be all about the body. So I may actually do that once a week. Cause you could do it from your home. You don't have to be a dancer and get more physical. And I am thinking of going to a gym because it's like I'm not. I have to do stuff because it releases too. It releases.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah. So what was some of the solution you had that you were finding out for yourself?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have been down the road with anxiety, and I have found that, and as you can see, I close my eyes when I say it because I just am blocking out all the memories of the anxiety attacks. No, but but so I've really been through this, and severe panic attacks, like in the hospital type
I
panic.
know, I've had that. Yeah.
And so here's what I'm finding. I'm finding how there's a few things. I've got all kinds of solutions for this. What I'm finding that when the more aware that I am about it, the more that I talk about it, the more I find I'm not alone.
Yes.
The more I find different tips and tricks from other people that have also been through it that I can apply to my life. And I'm starting to be able to kind of personalize a plan for myself that allows me to be able to start to come, bring myself back up from down here, because that's where you feel like when you're in it, and to start to rise above that and try to get back here to ground zero again. And some of those things that I have noticed, one thing, number one, above all things, grounding, like we talked about. I didn't even know what grounding was, even though like I I practiced it. I never really thought about it, and I never really gave it much. I just thought, oh, it's just another thing everybody's talking, another term, on and on it goes. But then when I started to do it and figure out how to do it, I started to realize exactly how important it was. And especially when you're reading cards, doing anything intuitive, if you aren't grounded, then you're going to head out there out into la la land, and you're going to get completely exhausted. I would get myself, when I started first on YouTube, so wired after I did tarot readings that I couldn't sleep until 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just up wired, like, let's go. And it's like, this is not working here. And so grounding was one. Another thing that I found that really worked for me was journaling, because I found that there were patterns in the anxiety. Oh, there it goes. Yes, exactly. There's patterns in the anxiety. And I'm seeing they happen during different times, like different times of the year. And I'm starting to make associations on, okay, it's happening at nighttime. It's happening during these periods in the year. It's happening when these things are happening. And so when you bring that awareness to yourself through the work of it, and even there's something with the mind, connection of writing it on paper. There really is. It just makes more of a connection there when you're writing it down versus just thinking it. So that was another thing. And then another thing that I found really, really, really helped me was finding my true passion. So when you find your true passion, it's really hard to let anxiety get in the way of that. And, I'm going to have to, with what I do now, I'm going to have to be out more. I'm going to have to be in front of people more. I'm going to have to be talking. I'm going to have to be sharing, so I find little baby steps of, of talking about all this stuff, and that passion that's kind of fueling my fire to want to do this again. Just recently, I've just kind of, I was in a bad place, and I sort of found my passion within looking, and I've looking in these, cases and this true crime and things like that. And I didn't expect myself. I mean, I knew I always liked it, but I never thought I would do.
Oh, I saw somebody comment where
Yeah.
she found you, and she's like, yeah, I don't believe in this. And then you said stuff, and then
Yeah.
it came through. And she's like, oh, that
I,
helped. By the way, Heather also does investigative. So you two could collab. I mean, you have your style different. You both have a different style.
yeah.
But to do one live, I would love to see you. That's Soul Alchemy with Indigo Jaguar.
I'm working on it. I'm a little bit closed off right now. I'm really trying. I'm trying my best to try and like break free, and be able to, but I'm terrible at scheduling. That's one thing that I'm finding within myself is like, see, like you and I, like, you're like, hey, come on with me. And I'm like, okay. So I'm terrible at scheduling, and I don't want to let anybody down. So
No,
it's like,
I know what you mean.
you
You know
know,
what? I just threw that out there. No
No,
pressure.
that's okay. No,
Yeah. You know what? There is
I
something
do
about,
it.
let's
Yeah.
talk at YouTuber, because a lot of our viewers are YouTubers too.
Yeah. No,
This
I
idea,
enjoy the watching.
we
I
look like we're comfortable, we're calm and all that. But the anxiety, like it could include scheduling and all
yeah.
that and different personality. That's why, um, yeah, I totally get that. You know what? It made me appreciate when I see like well, not that we're public figures, but I used to hear like, oh, I have so much anxiety before I do a show and stuff. I'm like really? But what
Yeah.
happened is they pushed through, like how we pushed through, and we're doing our best. But you know what? We all have to figure our own way.
Yeah.
Each of us as YouTubers or just in life. So however that worked for everybody. But here's the funny card. It goes
Okay.
perfect with this video. Remember, it's all about you too. Even though and I are talking about this,
Yeah.
it's all about you too. Look at
Right.
this. The edge of evolution feels messy. Okay, can we make this up? Face your fears, okay? And there's something about success. So sometimes we feel pressure, especially as we continue our journey, doing anything, work or whatever, but particularly us with the YouTube channel, maybe you could do it at the last minute, maybe you feel this, that, but this idea of this thing, you're living poetry. I guess it's the rhythm. We have to find our rhythm. That's why you've been journaling and figuring out like your pattern and all that. For
Yeah.
me, what I have found is I've been having a lot of panic attacks. My mother been a lot of health challenge and stuff like that lately. But other things too, I've been picking up a lot of energy for the past few years. So during my panic attack this week, and this, I could rely on this to a certain point. I kept going. Do I need to go to the hospital? Literally, 'cause my heart would fast,
Mm.
and I said no. And then what I would do, I would drink hot water. Something about hot water kept me calm. And then I was so tired because I wasn't sleeping.
Mm.
And but then I started the journaling this week, which with the oracle card, because that's the only thing I couldn't like. I needed to keep myself busy, like, and it kept saying, "Stop overthinking." There's one card that talks about that. Stop
Mm.
overthinking. Could you like this? And this is triggering this.
Mm-hmm. And
You
it
know,
all starts to coincide. Honestly, I really relate to that, Sylvia, because so when I just recently went to the hospital, and I'll share this with everybody. This is kind of a personal thing, but it helps me get through sharing, because like this is one of the things that I was talking about, talking about things. I have this fear. It's the strangest fear in the whole world, I feel like, but I have a fear of throwing up. And I ended up, and especially in front of people, well, I ended up in the hospital on my birthday. It stunk, but anyways, I was in the hospital on my birthday, and I couldn't stop throwing up. And so I was in the absolute worst situation I possibly could have gotten into with that fear of mine, with that anxiety of mine. And so it's like sometimes when and it's interesting that I'm pulling cards. I pulled cards too as I did this, and I pulled the shock card: sudden change, shocking news, surprise,
and that's a panic attack card too, like the tower.
Right. So it like this for me, when I had that go on in the hospital, that whole shock of all that, it brought about a change in me, because it's like, well, it can't possibly get any worse than this.
Really, right? And then
That's
they
how I
dope you up to keep you calm. You're like,
So it's
dude.
like I had to kind of go down here to get back up here, So it's interesting how sometimes when we're going through the worst things, we often it puts a new perspective on things for us, And so, but I drew a couple other cards, too, on anxiety, and it says, poker face. Don't show your hand all the time, right? Kind of put your poker face on. Sometimes we do have to put our poker face on, right? Sometimes we just have to do it. And that's what we're talking about. You know, it's like the Christmas lights, just sometimes you just have to untangle them. And then the dragonfly, the light-hearted card, you know, just letting things come in as they come in, you know, changing yourself, yeah, you know, not taking things so tough, you know, all the time, and easing up a bit. And here's what really got me, this card that I drew, the karmic relationship card, the perception, you know, everything that we do here in this life. Come on back in, camera. Come on. My camera's going fuzzy on me again. Everything we do in this life is all, you know, it's about our perception of things and how we're viewing it. And anxiety, we can change our perception on it. We can overcome it, you know.
You know what I find after, like, especially even in the hospital, I haven't gone lately, but I've done in, like, let's say 20 years, I've gone like 3 times. And then what happened is, what's good about that is then, you know, like, now I know, oh, it's likely panic attack. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
go back. But doesn't mean I doubt it. But there'll be a period of time I'm doing well, even though I always haven't. I'm watching my words. So
Yeah.
the biggest one while journaling this week, we're going to start going into the collective now. So that means all about us,
Yeah.
you and us. Okay, overthinking can spoil the magic.
Oh, yes.
So that's the card I mentioned earlier. Like, I kept getting this card. So the collective message is, what happened is, I can't hear my intuition when my anxiety, it like goes right out of the window. And I do my best. And then eventually I can hear enough. So usually if I'm like in that state where I can't control it, that's not divine, and that's not I'm not tuning in from within. So they want to, even my channel is about connecting from within. How can you connect from within when you're like,
Amen. I know, right? I feel you. I do. And you know what? One thing that I notice sometimes, Sylvia, is like we were talking about perception. I will imagine, because I've got anxiety going on, that threats are there that are not there. And so being intuitive and, you know, picking up on a vibe, and then on the other hand, imagining that there's threats there because of just how you're seeing things at the time, because you're stuck in your anxiety, they don't work well together at all. It doesn't match up. You know,
not
you
only that,
can't.
I'm really cranky when I'm anxious. I'm not a
Yeah.
nice person.
Yeah.
By the way, Heather, one of the solution, because we are going to bring up solution, that she had poetry, which helped her
Mm,
handle her anxiety, depression, which is kind of like a form of journaling, uh,
yeah.
but in a poetic way. It's her,
Sure.
right, it is. I write some of my best stuff. You know what I noticed? Like, after an episode, I tend to be more compassionate to other people.
Me too.
Like, God, this freaking sucks. You know what I mean? Like, God, what people do without tools. Um, and this is actually important when I'm getting collectively, because we are, as we all say, ascending. So it's happening more mainstream. So you got a lot of people who think you know, being intuitive is a special thing. We're all special, and we all add something to it. So don't have like somebody like me saying you're not special. But the truth is, intuition is everyone. So if we have everybody getting more in tune without awareness, you know, it's going to cause a lot of challenges. That's why there's an increase of suicide and things like that. And you got all the chaotic stuff going on in the world. But I like to, you know, Colorful Foresight, I like to spin it around to where we have more solution. So it's not just about having a YouTube channel and navigating through it. It's also because people are getting more in tune. But thankfully, there are a lot of things out there um, that are helping people to be more from within, especially with the younger generation. So here, look, the sensitivity and the strength are increasing. Our ability of sensitivity are increasing. That's why they're saying like how I eat, what I surround myself with. Also, I do feel better, Heather, not just Heather, but PD talking about this. Not every video I'm doing is going to be about this. So,
Yeah,
and here we have Hirsch, who's all about the shadow reader.
I
Hi.
love her. Hi,
So
Hershey.
let's see. Sony, when I get a panic attack, I have Warden give me a back rub. Damn, I need somebody to rub my back.
I know. We'll just have to hire Warden.
You know what's my form of a back rub? It's a hot cup of water with, and I just added peppermint tea. I shared with, I can't have tea because I have caffeine now. So I
You know,
got into tea. I don't usually like those herbal, like drinks, but peppermint's simple and mint. But something about the warm water, it kind of gets me out of my head and it feels warm in my body.
mhm.
And somebody told me, which is common sense, now that the weather's warmer, I need to be out in the sun for 10 minutes.
Well, I'm glad that you hit on that, because I was actually just thinking about talking about the weather and the moon cycles and things like
Oh, go
that.
for it.
That's one thing that I did notice that really affected me was sunlight. And I didn't put much. I really didn't think I had a seasonal affective
Yes,
disorder sort of problem
yes.
until I started journaling it. And then I was like, oh God, you really do have a seasonal, affective disorder problem here. And I noticed towards the full moons, it's a couple of days before the full moons, I'm totally I'm out and outer. I'm gone. So
You know,
it's like, well, let's not
there's,
plan anything.
there's so many stories about, people turning into wolves. Okay, we don't turn into wolves, but it's pretty powerful force, that full moon.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
brings everything inside of us like, woo.
Well, I mean, hence the term lunatic, right? Luna meaning moon, lunatic, you've gone, cuckoo for a little bit. So
Woo.
the gravitational pull of the moon really does affect people. The tides, it affects people. I mean, it's just how it works down here for us. Why do you think there's so many people in the emergency room during a full moon? You know?
The howling. Ow. Okay, so let's read a little bit from our chat room from our people. Thank you for all the support, Hirsch and Heather, for the telling people thumbs up. Heather said, for me personally, I like the idea of evolving instead of ascending. Yes, evolving, that's pretty good because I feel less like I am above others. Yes, that makes sense. Totally. Um, let's see. Stony, I prefer my nonsenseness.
he prefers his nonsenseness, like he's his nonsense. We all love your nonsense, Stony.
Some of you are new for me because you're a friend of PD. So hello to you all.
Yes, and everybody, all my friends, please go over and subscribe to
I'm so
Sylvia.
supportive of you. My God.
Oh,
Hi, Dina.
she's the bomb. I love her.
Let's
Oh
see.
yeah, I love my friends. They help me and support me a lot.
Dina, it's very positive that you get on YouTube and share your experiences with others that take vulnerability. There are many people who can't do that. It's very positive. Dina also, as well, has insomnia, anxiety. She works through them and she shares some time on her channel.
Insomnia is a tough one because when you don't get any sleep, that really affects everything that goes on in your life. It's tough. It's exhausting. I've been there with that too. So,
And what else we got? We can use the moon energy and understanding how it affect us to our positive benefit.
yes.
Ah, Jamie, she's a wild one. Nonsense equal medicine. All
Um,
right, so what else? Let's see. What more do we have for the collective? We're all talking about you. By the way, some of you are intuitive, and you can add to what you think is the collective message for us about intuition and anxiety. Go for it. Add to it, and I'll put your insight up. So we got sensitivity, strength that's happening. Oh my God, I could see that, Heather. She went through a period of time of insomnia. It's a nightmare. It really is. I have stories, but I don't want to bring up just about the
Yeah.
anxiety. I also want to, we're going to start talking about solution. And so the sacred flow of yes and no expectation. Part of that anxiety, because we're stuck in that mind, even if we're intuitive, and we can't hear that in a voice during that, oh my God, what about this? Can't hear anything, right? So somehow we have to go through that. Nourishment. I'm getting a lot about nourishing myself. And the thing is, I tend to want to do everything by myself and figure it out. So I have my oracle and stuff, but it's kind of nice to have my sister, like, helping me out. Us doing this video here, making me feel good. Some of you sharing about your challenges with it as well. And especially be aware if you are working on your intuition, that will come with it. But also, you'll get a lot of good out of it as well once you figure it out. Moving on, letting go. So I
Funny.
think a lot of it letting go. We're letting go. Dust
Dust
it
it
off.
off.
You know what? Somebody told me every time I get these weird thoughts, kind of throw in a box. Let the divine take care of it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't for me, but sometimes it really works. But I think because right now we're talking about evolution, right? We're seeing a lot of stuff. We're picking that up. So we're letting go all that old news stuff. So what else? Let me see what else I have here. Claim your power. That's a really cool card.
That's pretty.
And we're all going through immense growth. Unfortunately, I tell my spirit guide, they talk about the dark night of soul. I'm like, you know what, guys, is there a way we can learn without going through these challenges? Do we really have to I know.
I know it. I know. I've said that too, Sylvia. I'm like, this growth thing, it's painful. I just want to, can I just stay where I'm at? Because I don't really feel like this today.
I mean, I know we're dense in the head, but this the only way we can learn. So maybe, you know what I'm hearing? If you're starting to see like a little bit of maybe sometimes they wake us up through the tower or that, remember you had that card, that shock card? I'm going to ask my divine to help me be more in tune that I could pick up the sign much easier because obviously it gets so bad. Then it gets to the point of shocking. So I've much been in, not seeing it or whatever. So I would like to see it in a subtle way. That way it doesn't have to get to that point. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to create that intention. So that might be something you guys want to. I mean, maybe in a month we'll get back if all of us want to. Okay, that's a theme. All of you come back in a month. Ashley, when is the next thing that I think we're coming back on
April.
March 18th, I believe, with PD. I
March
mean,
8th.
April
Yeah,
8th
yeah.
at 8 p.m. on a Thursday. I want to work. We're all gonna put this intention with our spirit guide that please show us in subtle ways because we're gonna look for it. Obviously, if we're not hearing it, how it's gonna happen? But we're asking in subtle ways what needs to be shown before we get to that panic attack level.
I love that, Sylvia, because
I have to write that down before.
I know, right? Because one thing that I notice about me just with problems in general, if I try and figure it out and beforehand, because I don't always process emotions great. Because I'm empathetic, because I'm intuitive, it hits me like a sack of bricks. And when it hits me like a sack of bricks, then I just am like, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I can't, like you said, it really fogs up the mind and it's hard to see clearly when you've got the fog around you. So setting the intention of trying to get it when it's down here versus when it's heightened all the way up here and nobody can think is so intelligent, is so smart. It's brilliant because I think that's really the key to it. It's not like we're denying it's not there. and pretending that it's not going to happen again. It's that, you know, we're taking accountability for it, and that's a huge step in the healing process.
You know what I'm thinking of doing? I might. Well, first of all, I'm gonna attempt this. So what happened is, you know how it is. Once you've attempted it, you'll see it. Like, okay, everybody, right now, look in front of your room. That's including you. Look around your room. Just what's in front of you. I'm gonna say a word. Okay. Black.
Matt,
When you see that same thing coming out that's black, like it might be the pen, might be the black line on the book, on the frame, or on the door. So, okay, now I'm going to say blue. Now I see the blue on my wall, the blue on my shirt, and all that. See how quickly we start seeing things in front of us? They're there all the time in front of us. It's just that there's too much stuff in front of us. So unless we stay that intention. So the intention for when we come back to 18, and we'll see, we'll go with it, is get really good with our intuition to the point that they can work through our, I guess, not anxiety, but hopefully where we don't have to go to level 10.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
don't
you
know,
know,
what would be the title for that? Can you guys help us out? What would be the title for that?
yeah, help us out. And if you can't think of one now, put it in the comments for us, you know, a title. How do we not get our anxiety to a level 10? Anxiety awareness, something like that. You know,
Isn't there like 1, 2, 3? I think I noticed with me, I kind of dismissed it. Maybe I eat, you know, da 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 da. And then what happened is my nervous shot. You know, I'm hearing my guy tell me walk, do this, do that. I don't do it. So then eventually, then it tells me do this, this, this. I don't do it. So before I know it, my nervous system is out. And also, I have real life fears, you know, about people being sick, or this and that. So that on top of it, I'm gonna add to my journal. I'm not usually a journal person. I've done it, but
yeah.
it's only been consistent because I've been needing it for the past week. Where I'm
Sure.
gonna say what are the what are the clues I needed to hear today to I don't want to say to avoid anxiety, but to
Help
continue with the
control
flow.
it. Yeah, yeah,
To continue with the flow.
yeah. And
Or maybe anxiety to flow. I don't know.
um,
Oh, that's great, Jamie. She said, oh, Sony, chill as soon as I start freaking. That's good if you could do that.
you know, I find in life, and the older that I get, I'm figuring out that this isn't the way to go. But I find that for me, I don't listen unless it's at a level 10.
That's right.
So
Exactly.
I'm trying to work on being able to listen in order to not go there and prevent. I don't, I guess it is prevent, because nobody wants an anxiety attack, you know. So it's like listening. Okay, they're telling you, and they do say, you know, like my guides will say to me things like, you need to be drinking your water,
Right.
you need to be going on a walk, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there shoving pizza in my mouth, drinking coffee.
Sitting down by the computer, right?
Yeah. I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow I have a panic attack and I'm here at level 10. So I've got to, you know, you got to put that into action. Whatever it is that you feel you need to do that's going to help you with that, it's important to keep at it. You know, you always, my mom always told me, you know, you don't want to be here. You don't want to be down here. It's always good to just be somewhere here. And my thing is like, I just always want to be there right up here. And it doesn't suit that. That doesn't work. It doesn't work for anyone.
And I think the blind stares of a million eyes looking hard, but you never realized. So that means like there've been signs everywhere we didn't notice, but they were there the whole time.
Pretty
That
much.
was,
That's a lyric to a Tupac song.
but that's what it is, though, basically, that they've been around.
The blind stares of a million eyes, but you'll never realize.
Yeah,
So
she's going by your T-shirt. I know she's been like admiring your T-shirt.
so
So subtleness, which is actually going to help with our intuition. Because think about it, if we Could if I keep hearing it, but thinking I'm making it up, or it's just common sense. Like, of course, walk, of course, water. Intuition and spirituality, not about like levitating. It is the regular life stuff. We are a human being, whether
Yeah.
we want to admit or not. Even if we're star being and star seed and all that bit. um, so getting that's not going to just help with our anxiety being experimenting for the past month, where you're going to come back. I hope you guys come back on
Yeah.
April 18th on a Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern,
Yeah.
7 p.m. Central. It's going to help with our intuition, because that
Mhm.
means we're going to hear at a subtle level, you know? And
Mhm.
it'll be like where we're still going to have our monkey mind, but we're going to pick up our intuition where we actually respect it and listen to it more. Let's see. Sony said, even though we joke, Sylvia, PD take tarot very seriously. She had to help
Oh,
me.
Stony.
Aw.
Thank you. I really hope to do that, and sharing stuff like this, maybe somebody will relate to me somewhere, maybe somebody will understand and be like, because that's the thing is we're a lot of times when we go through these things, we feel very alone. But the more that we reach out to each other, in unification, we find we're not alone at all, and we heal through each other. So,
You know how many, like, let's take intuition away, right? Go on
yeah.
YouTube. There's so many videos with on rain. They have people who go camping and all they do is cook, put the
Mhm.
tent up, and show the snow. And they make a living off of that.
I love
People
that.
need to calm down, you know? The only thing I'm getting for 2024 and beyond, AI is great. We get to connect and all that, but they want us to get more in connection with, even if you're limited and you don't have access to nature, walking outside, connect with people, especially after 2020, been kind
Mhm.
of like hard to get back to the rhythm. So that's a big one. I'm not going to stop watching YouTube. I'm going to minimize it by 50%. Some of my people I follow, they have like 5 videos a week, and I've been watching them. Come home. I'm going to
Mhm.
watch maybe 2. Still
Yeah,
supportive, but watch too, and connect with my friends and stuff like that. Um, so this is not just common sense with me. Some people actually maybe are always going out, and you may need to what do you call it? Like be a little bit of a hermit, just so you could ground yourself a little bit. But
yeah,
this is all related.
and I think that it's all situational too. Like for me,
Situational for sure. Yeah.
I have a tendency to isolate. So for me, yeah, oh yeah, I'll sit in this house and I won't leave it. There has been times in my life where I was a recluse. I would not leave the house.
I
I, I've,
understand.
I've gotten over it, but there's been times in my life where it's been like that. So for me, I have to work on actually getting out. So, but for some it's they have to slow down and come and regroup here homes, spend time at home. Some people's way of coping is to be out, in a way, and being busy. Then other people, their way of coping is to hide, and stay alone, because for me, I was always like, well, if I'm alone, nobody can see me having my anxiety, you know
You
and
know
but
what it
then
is? I think it's because I can't handle it, and I don't want another person to. Maybe if I had a boyfriend, but some people boyfriend are not great or girlfriend great. But it's like sometimes I'm like, I need somebody to hug me and stuff like that. But the
oh,
truth is, the sun can hug you. Being
yeah,
out with people could hug you. Doing this could hug you. But
yes,
yeah, I could do the hermit thing too. So again, going with what our intention, because it's gonna not help just with our anxiety, but it's gonna help you get more in tune. Because even though you say, "Oh, I am in tune. I don't need guidance," we always could be more in tune. Fine tuning.
I agree.
So I never thought this was what we would be talking about, but it makes sense. Because one of the great thing I noticed, there'll be a point where in the midst of like panic, I'll be able to I'll be able to calm down enough to listen to my intuition. My intuition would be like, well, it was so bad this week I had to use my pendulum and oracle card, but there are times where I could just listen and tell me, um, drink water, walk around the room. Today you ate this, that's hurting your stomach, it's producing gas,
Yeah.
like over here, because you
Yeah.
feel like you can't breathe. Um, and then your head spins a little bit. Weird, a very weird thing.
I know.
And
It
then I
is.
get so tired by 5 o'clock in the morning because it's like daylight. I'll sleep for 3 hours. But gratitude again and a spark of hustle. So fine tuning is okay. If you're hustling for love, you're hustling for work. It doesn't mean hustling is like you're working adamantly to get to the end goal. This should be part of the hustle to get more fine tuned. Because that way, if you have anxiety or any stress in life, or you're working and do reading, get that fine tuned. It just means you're gonna get another level of being more intuitive, finding your sacred flow. Because then you're gonna be in that sacred flow. You're gonna find that alpha. That's what comes to mind for some reason. Fogo Pogo. Let's see what she had to say. Hi, Fogo. So find your sacred flow. It's going to be part of our project for this month.
Okay.
Find your sacred flow. That might be the title, maybe, of the video. Should
All
we
right.
make that the title of the video?
We should.
I,
Find
find your sacred flow. I might change the word find because this is like from this person, but I might, whatever that first word is, and then your sacred flow, that might be the title. So Fogo said, I come to discover most of that I thought were anxiety panic attack. It's actually a result of solar flares. Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense. I start tracking the space weather and it helped me to identify what's actually mine or no or not. That's another one.
Brilliant.
When is it ours and when it's not? Most of the time it's not even ours.
I
It's
know it.
reflective.
I know. I know. And even like too, like, what
Ooh,
music.
embrace the sacred flow, Michelle. I
Oh
might
yeah.
get that. Embrace your sacred flow. That's gonna be the title next month. I'm sorry. What you were saying? I interrupted.
Oh, no. You're okay. I was checking the chat down here. I'm trying to keep up with my chat and listen as well. But and I had an ADHD moment and I forgot what I
Oh,
was saying.
I think, yeah.
Squirrel.
You know what? I've been looking up. I think I might have that. I might be discovering that now. My age. I might go to. I've been trying to go to somebody for 2, 3 years. I haven't, so I might look into it. Part of ADHD. Sometimes it's common sense stuff. It's us picking up energy, solar flare, and all this stuff. It could be the ADHD. ADHD have this thing with dopamine, and
Mm-hmm.
that could trigger a lot of your anxiety and stuff like that. So that's important to know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And everything comes at us rather like we just think so quickly. Anyone with ADHD thinks rather quickly. And so when I get it all at once, and plus I'm claircognizant. So it's like I can't sometimes I get overwhelmed because I'm not the best at regulating my emotions. Number one.
That's number one.
Yeah, number 2, I get overwhelmed from the claircognizance, and then I get overwhelmed from the ADHD, so it's like a triple threat coming at me all at once, and then sometimes I have like I
Would
just
that,
straight up
would
will
that
melt down. Yeah.
explain why you have challenges with scheduling?
Yep. I'm so horrible with scheduling. I can't and what I'll do is up until the point that I have to get to the event, I will think about the event in solid detail. And like if I'm scheduled a month out, I'll think about it in detail until I've talked myself out of it. So you have to be careful where you're putting your energies, right? So yeah.
You know what? Good. I told PD could she kindly is going to collab with me once a month for the next 3 months. But I told her, you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up, because I understand that, actually, about thinking about it that far ahead. It's just you keep thinking about it, but you just have to show up. Don't worry about it. So actually, I emailed her yesterday. I'm like, are you interested in doing this anxiety thing? She goes, I do best at the last minute.
I
So
do. I'm a pop-up kind of a gal. Like, if you ever want to do a show, just email me and I'll be like, oh yeah, okay. If it's the next day, I'll be fine. But if it's 2 weeks out, I'm like, oh God. But I'm working on it. That's why I agreed to do a show with you once a month, because that's something that I need to get through,
awesome.
And you're very easy to work with. Like, you're so warm and welcoming. So
Fuzzy, you're fuzzy to me too. Okay, so what else? I think that's good. We don't have to have too long of a video,
yeah, no.
unless you guys in the audience want to add something to it. Is there anything else you want to add to it before we wrap up?
Does anybody here kind of relate to some of the things that we talked about today? Hi, Nancy. It's good to see you. I miss you.
All of them are good friends. They're so supportive.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing that I decided with myself, is that I was going to surround myself with a tribe of supportive people that reciprocated this kind of energy that I need and that I give out. And so that really helps with a lot of stuff. It really does. It makes you feel like you're loved. And hey, I just want to tell everybody that's here tonight, thanks for coming. And that it makes me feel so blessed, and sharing these things with you and everybody else, and talking about it, and
I know. I feel so happy, honestly.
I feel lighter.
Yeah. And you know what? Stony relays Swamp. It's relatable.
Yeah.
Anxiety is relatable. Like I said, you don't have to be intuitive. But when we are more in tune, 'cause a lot of us are more active, we're proactive, we work on it, we're interested in it, we're passionate. And again, it could be situational, but also I forget who it was, I'm sorry, solar flare.
Yes.
Full moon, all these other things.
The moon, flares. I feel it. I do.
But here, surprisingly enough, just put our spirit guide have a collective message for us about hearing our intuition at a very subtle level. Most of us know that we do hear it most of the time, but we dismiss it, or we think it's our mind. And it's not always like the woo-woo stuff. It's simple things as walk, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So imagine if we actually listen to that, how in tune you're going to be even more without having to go to level 12, tower. Go to the hospital like, oh, yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
Like, oh.
Oh, that's great. No, I agree. I struggle. Sometimes I struggle to do what I actually need to do. So I'm trying my hardest. Even if you put a little bit of effort and push even if you can just push yourself to do just maybe one small thing that's outside your comfort zone, in the anxiety world, right? One little thing, it's amazing how just taking baby tiny steps starts to build up, and all of a sudden you're walking up at the mountain, and all of a sudden you're on top of it.
Yeah. My brother used to always say, take one step at a time. I used to do the all or nothing thing. And then you skip everything in between, and then you freak out.
I know. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like unrealistic. It's like there's a beauty to the steps in between. I used to want to jump right from A to Z. We're done. The ADHD in me was just like, let's get it done. But there's a beauty in the procedure of going through all of it that teaches you lessons that you can't learn without it. So.
Yeah. Anybody in the audience are painters or going into painting that can help you?
And you know what? My daughter actually, she's fine. She's in college for fine arts, and she's also getting a therapy degree. And so she decided she's going to go into art therapy, which I love because that's initially I was going to be an artist, but I never went with it. But in a way, I kind of am now with what I do. But yeah, she is actually was talking about the pieces of work that she does and that other people do and the things that they put in them and how you can express yourself through them. And it's just a really awesome concept for me, and it's so releasing. There's something too, like I said, that brain hand connection when you're creating, when it comes out through the hand, those thoughts are coming out through the hand, whether they're in writing, poetry, fine arts, what, even acting, all of the arts are very therapeutic. So
I was thinking of like how they took, I think due to budget or things like that, they cut a lot of program like
yep.
cooking class, they said for the women, but it could be for men and women. I don't know where the men know how to do like carpentry stuff.
Wood.
I feel like they're gonna bring that back in art, music, and all that. Also for adults, I don't know. I feel like old school coming back. Like dancing. It could be like dancing in a gym. I don't know, but that's all coming back. That might be part of the evolution where we're heading into the golden age and Aquarian age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kept thinking about painting myself. Like they have a lot of like continuing ed college program, which is more affordable. But if you go to like a local art class, tend to be a lot more money. But if you go to like a college course, I don't know. I might do it at home or something like that. But
And there's so much on YouTube, Sylvia. You can just YouTube, something, or it's fun. But there's always something too about going out and being in a collective with people.
yeah, that's what I'm getting. Like we're gonna get
Yeah.
more like tactile, more with our hand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What to do? No, you had somebody in your peep. I didn't know if that person was a troll or not, but
And mine.
it's like is anybody single here? So all your
Oh,
friends,
is it Hawkwind?
and then your friend are rolling with I'm wild, single, free, and full time woman.
Yeah, it's probably coming from my chat, and they're probably
Definitely
one
from
of
your.
my friends. They are
That's funny.
probably one of my friends.
Jamie said that she just had a really important conversation with a lot of one about how important channeling my creativity for my mental health.
Mm,
People who sing, they write music.
yes.
I feel
Yeah.
like we're supposed to be in love, by the way, more love with life. It's something about the energy of 2024 because we've been experiencing a lot of divisiveness. So just like the good, the not so good. So intuitively, um, when I was reading for 2024, they said focus on the love vibe. There's even a concert called Love Hard that a lot of R&B people doing it. So this idea that people are picking up about love, love vibe. It doesn't have to be just about romance,
Right.
falling in love. It's like counteracting all those divisive energy, you know. So that's what I feel like that the increased anxiety too, part of us picking up that collective, because we are sensitive. So we're picking up the good and not so good. And the art is also knowing when it's yours or not, because things that are not good will try and manipulate us. We do have shadowy side too, I guess. But
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
I
know
have.
why you're bringing that up, but I think we're, we're being asked to not only focus on the subtleness, so we don't go to level 12, embrace your sacred flow. So part of that sacred flow is do things you love, fall in love, do things of your heart, you know, more in person, tactile type of thing. I don't know what that means for each of you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what this about. I think of Oliver the movie.
I have no idea. Who knows with Hawk?
So I just want to say hi, Trip. I've seen you. Trip, it's
Hey,
your
Trip.
friend.
My friend, yes. Trip is a trip. He's full of love.
Interestingly enough, right?
Yes.
So I hope to see you guys in a month from now on April 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern. I hope that, let me double check. I want to make sure.
I think it's
18, yeah. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific. If anything, you listen to us after if you are unable to see us live. But definitely, please let us know what you went through. Did it help with your intuition? It
yeah.
should. It would be helping you to fine tune more about embracing your sacred flow. We're going to be listening. We're going to intend that. Remember, I did earlier about the room. Look around in front of you. I'm going to pick up more. Look, I'm going to say the word yellow. You see anything yellow in front of you? The only thing yellow in front of me is the gold frame. I don't have a lot of yellow in front of me. You see anything yellow in front of you?
My lemonade from God's green couch. That's a whole inside joke.
So it's about the intention, focus. That's the point. It was there, but I didn't notice the yellow my gold frame because you got so many mushy stuff in front of us. So
Yes.
okay,
Perception. Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna end it here. Thank you for being here,
Yes, thank you.
and take care. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Hearst. By the way, Hearst said she can't wait to see you live again soon. Hawk say I'm free and single.
Hawk, behave.